Welcome into another edition of Target Score Winnipeg. I'm Joey Slattery. That is Taylor Allen. Make sure you're following us at Target Score Pod on Instagram, at Target Score Podcast on YouTube. Make sure that you're like, subscribe, comment, share, all that fun stuff helps us out. And we love building this community and having these conversations about the CBL. Be sure to tune into our other shows as well. Target Score Brampton with Denung Balsera and Matt Bonomi, and Target Score Vancouver with Andrew Savory and Chris Wiggins. And we are happy to have you aboard here. It was a successful weekend for the Winnipeg Sea Bears, Taylor. It was a little bit back and forth to start this season, right? Win one, lose one, win one, lose one. All very close games. But, going up against a winless Calgary Surge, we talked about it last game, how weird it is. Well, now they are 0-10. After losing back-to-back games to the Winnipeg Sea Bears. And the thing that impressed me most, they got it done. Target scored time in both games, didn't mess around, ended the game early, didn't let Calgary creep back in. That first game at home was weird. A weird 20-point win. There were 11 lead changes in that game, and it ended up being a 20-point victory for the Winnipeg Sea Bears. But when push came to shove and it was time to close the game, they closed.
Well, let's be honest here, Joey. I mean, the Calgary Surge, and this isn't something that I ever thought I'd ever have to say, but the Calgary Surge are an absolute dumpster fire right now. So, I mean, it's great that the Sea Bears, for them, that they took care of business and swept the series against these guys. But at the end of the day, though, I mean, let's not plan the parade because they took care of business against this Calgary Surge team, because nothing's working for those guys right now. And again, I mean, they've been such a team that's been so reliable year after year, knocking on the doorstep. You kind of thought they'd be that next team to finally break through and win a title. And this year they've taken, never mind a step back, they've ran a marathon backwards, basically, it feels like. So it's kind of sad to see, this team that's been so respected, this bad now. But hey, kudos to the Sea Bears. I mean, you could play a team like that's struggling like that, and you could kind of take them lightly, and that's when you can kind of fall victim to one of those teams and be the first team to lose against a basement dweller like that. And that wasn't the case for the Sea Bears, and a big reason why, of course, is our guest today, Isiah Osborne. I mean, I was just saying to you off air how kind of silly I feel. I mean, we've been talking about this team all season, and of course, talking about and hyping up Xavier Moon and when he's going to get here, what's he going to add and stuff. And I feel like we've maybe mentioned Isiah Osborne's name maybe twice, maybe three times. And then the guy shows up fresh off the plane and drops 24 points and hits the target time winner in his home debut in Winnipeg. So kudos to Isiah Osborne. I think he definitely grabbed a lot of people's attention for sure.
Yeah, that interview with Isiah Osborne coming up in just a few minutes. Great interview. And here's a guy that was developed, grassroots Canadian, played most of his college ball in Canada. He's won everywhere he went. He's won everywhere he's been. And now he's hoping to win a CBL championship here in Winnipeg. Sitting second in the West right now. It's 6-4. They're just a game back of Vancouver, who fell to 7-3 last night. We're recording this on Tuesday, June 16th. And maybe the game of the year, losing to Scarborough in a very tight one. I had said in Brampton that, in the Target Score Brampton podcast I was guest hosting last week, I had said, and I wasn't pandering to their fans at the time, this is a week ago, I'm thinking, this is the team to beat. Brampton's very complete. And they lose to Niagara last night. They didn't have Sean East, which is huge. He's out doing an NBA workout with the Denver Nuggets right now. But after Scarborough beat Vancouver, they're 8-1. Miles Powell is a beast. Frank Mitchell has been phenomenal. And I know Vancouver didn't have Tyrese Samuel, but at this point, you go into Vancouver, your first big road trip, your first massive road win. I think Scarborough is the team to beat, but they're going to be playing Vancouver on Thursday. It's going to be a big game for Winnipeg. But going back to Isiah Osborne, here's a guy that comes in, as you say, 24 points. 5 steals. He had more than 30 minutes of playing time, and he had 30 minutes of playing time in the second game in Calgary. 8 points in that one, but that first game, 36 minutes he played. First game in, thrown in the fire. Not only did he have the 24 points, he had 5 steals. He was getting it done at both ends of the floor. And you're right, this is a guy that I wouldn't say he was underrated. You're right. Xavier Moon just takes a lot of the headlines of new guys coming in. But there was a level of excitement, with the organization, with fans that have followed the league for a number of years. Like, who Isiah Osborne is and what he brings to the table. And he hit 2 target score winners. I don't think there's a better debut. And I was trying to think, I'm like, how many Sea Bears? And I didn't have time to go through every game sheet, but how many Sea Bears have hit a game winner at Canada Life Center on both sides? As the as an opponent and as a member of the Sea Bears, because there's not a lot of losses at Canada Life Center overall, and I'm sure there might be another one. Last year was a bit of a tough year at home, but what a cool experience to come in. You'll hear about it in the interview. He talks about it as one of his favorite memories of the CEBL. But he comes in, scores one against the Sea Bears at home, silences the crowd, and then his first game here gets the crowd going with a massive one. And I want to give a shout out to Mason Krause and Jeremiah Tillman Jr. I talk about closing it out. A big part of that closeout was the effort on that last play where they both dive for that loose ball. And I believe it's Tillman Jr. throws it backwards, and Isiah Osborne, right place, right time, wide open 3. It was awesome. But yeah, he is a guy, once Xavier Moon gets here, it'll be interesting to see what adjustments are made from an import standpoint, but also how these roles are going to shift. But I think Isiah Osborne, he started in these games as a guy that is fresh here, and, he's a high quality Canadian player, which is very important in this league. But I think he's going to have a very crucial role.
My mind's racing now, Joey. I'm trying to think if there has been anyone that's hit a target time winner for the home team and on the away side at Canada Life Center.
Well, I'm thinking like Jalen Harris.
Wright-Foreman ever?
I think Justin Wright-Foreman might have. Jalen Harris, I'm trying to think, might have as well. And Simi Shitu. Those are the 3 guys where I'm like, probably happened. But Osborne is the memorable one for sure, because when he hit them, it was a memorable shot to end the game, and he was letting everybody know about it. And then obviously in your debut, it's kind of like last year. I don't know how many Sea Bears have hit a game winner in their debut, aside from maybe year 1. But, first game with the new team, and you hit Simi Shitu did it last year. He did it this year. It's a pretty special moment.
Totally. And I mean, just the atmosphere at that game was pretty electric as well. I don't know how many fans walked into Canada Life Center knowing who Isiah Osborne was. I mean, obviously the diehards that really follow this team do, but the casual people that just go for,
and they might have walked out with a jersey.
Exactly. That's the point I was trying to make. So, it was fun to watch. It was an entertaining game for sure. And yeah, I mean, Jeremiah Tillman, his numbers were kind of modest at first win against Calgary, but the next one, what do you have, 26 points or something crazy like that? So
yeah,
a big performance from Jeremiah as well. So yeah, I mean, we've talked about this a billion times this year, but I mean, there's been other guys than Teddy Allen.
And here's the thing:
things for this team.
We still Teddy Allen is the back-to-back player of the week in the CBL, and it's so crazy to me because you're right. We're not even talking we do talk about Teddy Allen. It's not that no one talks about him.
Which is a good thing. I think that's a great thing for Teddy and for the team, though.
Well, and it goes there's a few facets to what I'm bringing up here, because we are talking about him, but 2 years ago, this all we would be talking about. He is still a dominant player, but there's players that are coming up from other, a Miles Powell has really kind of dominated the conversation since the start of the season, and it was more the Sean East, Jameer Nelson Jr. conversation. Very East focused. And then the latest conversation has been Mitch Creek coming back to Vancouver, which obviously reigning MVP. Of course, the conversation is going to shift that way. But Teddy
is never going to play in the CBL again, Creek.
Yeah, never going to play again, playing again in the CBL. Yep. So, that is the guy. And there's been plenty of noise about that on social media, which I love. But, I will say this. I think it's better with him in the league. He's an entertaining player.
Totally. Absolutely.
And, you say what you say in the heat of the moment. And I'd rather have him back in this awkward moment of, going against his word. But he's back. The league's better for it. And he will be in Winnipeg on Thursday when the Vancouver Bandits visit. But just to put a bow on the Teddy Allen thing, Teddy Allen is quietly going about his business. He is just as dominant as ever. I think he is the quiet front runner, maybe, neck and neck with Miles Powell right now. But here's a dude that is dropping, 30 a game, playing a ton of minutes, getting his assists, getting it done defensively. Like we talked about the 5 steals from Isiah Osborne. He had another 2 that game. His game has gotten so much more complete, and there doesn't seem to be, like, even when the spotlight is on him, it's about the team. It's about the team. And that's been the biggest difference I've noticed with Teddy Allen, right? Is just like, it's almost like I've had my time in the spotlight. I'm going to have my time in the spotlight. I want to shed it and share it with my teammates, where it makes sense to, and, kind of celebrating the work that they're doing. But like, he's been relatively quiet. The hype around him has been quiet, but it's real. Like, that's the other thing. And I think it's a dangerous thing around the league, because here's a guy that is, the silent assassin, to take the term that Jeremiah Tillman used for Isiah Osborne. Teddy's been kind of that, just going about his business day to day, doing what Teddy does, Teddy buckets, but just doing it at both ends of the floor. And he just seems to be a much more cohesive version of the Teddy Allen we had 2 years ago, in Winnipeg. And but it's just wild to me that here he is putting up numbers that he's been putting up, that we used to make a big deal about, doing even more on other fronts when it comes to, playmaking and, his defensive abilities, or his defensive, I don't want to say efforts, it's not the right word, but defensive performance. But no, it's a good thing to have if you're Winnipeg, because we're talking about everything else, and you still have your core rock guy in Teddy Allen doing Teddy things, and everybody seems to be getting along.
Well, with a high volume score like Teddy, I mean, everyone's obsessed with points. How many points did he score? How many points did he get last night, right? But I mean, I think the thing that I'm most impressed with Teddy, at least lately, is the fact that he's shooting the ball so efficiently. I mean,
Yeah.
in the 2-game series with Calgary, he shot at least 50% in both games. One of the games he shot 57%. So, I mean, that goes to show that he's not jacking up, these crappy looking shots. I mean, he's taking good shots, good makeable shots, and he's hitting them as well. So, yeah, this Teddy signing has gone exactly how Mike Rainbow, I'm sure, kind of wanted it to go, because again, he's getting other guys involved. He's not forcing anything, and the Seabears offense is kind of humming along pretty nicely these days.
And I think this was the, going back to him giving the love to his teammates, like, it doesn't feel forced, because I think that is the biggest difference. We'd always talk about, Teddy Allen, and when new players were coming in, in the past, it was always, how are they going to complement Teddy? Even this year, right? Oh, how are Xavier Moon and Teddy going to coexist? And, we're going to see that soon. Xavier Moon should be here this week. And for me, I think what makes him more dangerous is the fact that they have more weapons this year, right? In that first year, it was basically Teddy Allen and then EJ Anasike, and then closing time, you had
Jelani
Watson-Gale. Right. And Isiah Osborne might be the new Jelani Watson-Gale. Might have to transfer the closer name over to Isiah Osborne if he keeps hitting all these game winners. But yeah, no, I think that's the problem, is you can't just focus all your attention on Teddy. You have to still give him a lot of attention, but you can't leave a guy like Jeremiah Tillman Jr. open, in the post, where his field goal percentage is through the roof. And there's plenty of guys that can do it at both ends of the floor. So I think the transition opportunities as well, right? They're creating steals, they're creating turnovers, and they're getting a lot of points on the run. But no, it's been a great run for Teddy Allen so far. Back-to-back players of the week. I just feel like sometimes we get so caught up with everybody else, we forget to mention what Teddy Allen's doing, which is really great things for the Winnipeg Seabears right now. Next matchup, we won't spend a lot of time on this one. We're not sure what it's going to look like, but we do plan to have some sort of crossover with Target Score Vancouver. But Vancouver is the next team in town. Just mentioned earlier, they lost to Scarborough on home court over the weekend, on Monday. It was a great game. It was, high intensity, fast moving. I think the one thing, we noticed watching it was they kind of crumbled a bit, right? It's been going pretty smoothly for Vancouver. They're 7-3 right now. They do have a few losses, some surprising ones there as well. But, when they lost to Ottawa, it was, on the road, end of a long road trip. I think they can't remember who else they lost to. I want to say Saskatoon. I could be wrong. But regardless, they've lost some games. But this one here was a good game that they lost. But we saw, some body language with Vancouver that I'm not used to. Jalen House had a couple of technicals. It just didn't feel, Vancouver's an intense team, but like, rarely do we see them kind of unravel, but we also don't see them in that many tight games in recent years too. But I do feel like they are going to come back with a vengeance. They lost that game. They didn't have Tyree Samuel. Not sure what his status is coming into Thursday. They do have Mitch Creek. Mitch Creek played very well. I think he was just shy of 30 points, but it's also his first game in with a whole new team. Everybody's getting used to it. But I do feel like a team like that doesn't want to lose two in a row. They're in a bit of a gauntlet right now. They played Scarborough on Monday, then they play Winnipeg on Thursday, and I believe on Sunday or Saturday or Sunday they play Brampton. So you're playing the three of the top four teams, the other team being you in that top four. This is a bit of a gauntlet. So I think there's a little bit of pressure they're going to use positively here against Winnipeg, especially a division rival. Losing to Saskatoon doesn't do much for you in terms of the conference matchup, but losing to Winnipeg can have a major impact on the playoff implications moving forward.
Well, I think we're going to learn a lot about the Winnipeg Sea Bears in the next 10 days, Joey. I mean, they'll be playing Vancouver twice. I mean, you got Edmonton sandwich in there as well. But
Yep.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you take care of the business against Calgary. Again, that's great. But like, whatever. Let's see you do that against the top dog in the West. So if you're the Sea Bears, you want to go at least 1-1 in these next two against the Vancouver to really show that, well, like, hey, that you're right up there with them as well. But yeah, I mean, if they go 0-2 against Vancouver, I mean, that'll definitely be a bit deflating for Winnipeg for sure. But yeah, I think this upcoming week of Sea Bears basketball is going to be one that you really want to keep an eye on for sure.
Well, and looking at that next game, because they play Vancouver on Thursday and Edmonton on Saturday. Edmonton, okay, so here's the other thing. Edmonton now in fourth place in the West. Saskatoon, who, we were kind of sounding the alarm on early on. And, that's one thing I said. At that early kind of 0-3 start for Saskatoon, I was thinking they're better than their record, and it's starting to show. They've played 9 games. They've got 4 wins now to their 5 losses. Edmonton is 3-5. They've played 1 less game than Edmonton, and of course, there's Calgary, who's 0-10 right now, and basically out of the playoff picture here already in the 2026 season. But here's an Edmonton team now, so they're coming into Winnipeg, behind Saskatoon, find themselves in a thick of a race. And right now, Winnipeg can't get too comfortable either. They only have 2 games up on Saskatoon, a team that they've lost to as well. So Edmonton coming in here on Sunday is going to be tough. They don't have Dane Danger anymore, but they still have Scotty Lindsay, former Sea Bear, who's been playing well, averaging 14 points a game in his first 4 games played. Isaiah Moore also averaging 14 points. Stanley Davis Jr. has 12. Trey King's been another guy who's been playing really well, but they have a balanced scoring. And the thing about Edmonton, as we've come to see throughout the years, is they tend to bring their best in Winnipeg. Last year, Winnipeg had the edge for the first time ever, right? They won that one game 2 years ago, and it was the first time they beat Edmonton at Canada Life Center. Last year, they had a much easier time with them. But this is an Edmonton team that's starting to feel a little desperate.
Yeah, we've talked about over the years how it hasn't really felt like a rivalry with Saskatoon, but Edmonton, in a way, has kind of been the team that's really kind of gone the best of the Sea Bears and just kind of felt the most heated at times. So yeah, that's a great point for sure. And yeah, this West is kind of like anyone's race except for Calgary, obviously. I mean,
Yeah.
like you said, Saskatoon, I mean, they have the rough start, but they're back into it. At Edmonton, they're below 500, but I mean, they're showing signs of life still. And yeah, the Sea Bears are 6-4, but I mean, you could blink and they could end up being 6-7 pretty soon here. You just don't know. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the fun thing about this league is that you can have a slow start and still, crawl your way back and still finish strong. So, yeah, in some ways the league feels a bit top heavy right now with the, kind of Scarborough, Brampton, and Vancouver. But I don't know. I still think that the next tier below, just the Winnipegs, the Edmontons, again, Saskatoon and stuff and Niagara, obviously, as well, once they kind of get more settled, and Khalil Maud's back now too, obviously. That I kind of think that, this is going to be kind of a fun photo finish at the end for both the conferences.
Right now, it feels like Scarborough is running away with the East as like kind of the sure thing right now, and Calgary is out of the West. Everything in the middle is very tight on both conferences. But yeah, it's almost like, the basement's tied up in the West and the top spot's tied up in the East, and everything else is up for grabs. But it's going to be a big 2-game set for the Sea Bears at home. Not an easy back-to-back for home games. As you said, a bit of a gauntlet for them. Vancouver they're going to play 4 times this year. So this is a game that, they're going to get to know each other really well. Mitch Creek will be gone for a little bit. He has commitments with the Australian national team. So he will be playing Thursday, as far as I know. That is the plan. He will be playing, and then he's to be back for the playoffs. But there's many opportunities between these two teams. This 4-game series might just be a jockey for playoff position between these two teams. And we'll really see where, Winnipeg stacks up. Not to say that they haven't played anybody good, but it's just now you're going into the top echelon of the West, which is what you're competing with and where you're placed right now. So it'll be the first real test.
Well, before we get to Isiah Osborne, let's as much as this pains me, Joey, but let's devote a minute or 3 to the NBA Finals. I mean, 2 years ago, your Celtics won it all. Last year, my Pacers had the most heartbreaking loss ever. Yeah. So I feel like this year, neither one of us were as dialed in, obviously, because I feel like we both, obviously don't really love the Knickerbockers. But I mean, it was, despite it being a short series, it was a very entertaining series. And despite the fact that the end result was one that neither one of us wanted to see, after decades and decades and decades and decades and decades and decades of being an absolute just poorly run, nothing positive to say about the franchise, the New York Knicks. They're now the kings of the castle. So just what was your big takeaway from the Spurs and Knicks NBA Finals?
It was here's the thing. It's a lot more fun when New York is in the finals, and everything that was happening with the history of 53 years of not winning a title, the disappointments beforehand. And I won't lie, as much as it was a quick series, it's 3-1, and I'm thinking, man, how are the Knicks going to nick this one, right? Like, you're thinking of all the, I think of Golden State in, was it 2016, giving up the 3-1 lead to Cleveland, and the things that have happened in the past. And I'm like, if any team is capable of this, it is the New York Knicks on any given year. But here's the thing that I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it was tough. As a Celtics fan, I was never grew up a fan. I was never a big fan of the Knicks, but I really like Jalen Brunson. I think he's a phenomenal player. Like a textbook underdog that it was always stacked against him. I don't think at any point this year people were like, hey, the Knicks, Jalen Brunson and the Knicks are going to win this. There's always, do they have enough? Is he enough? And, they've been playing the clips of everybody saying Villanova had no players and NBA guys, and now they all won a championship together in New York. But I thought it was a great series. I like it because it brings the Knicks back into the conversation. Like I said, when a team like the New York Knicks are involved in the NBA conversation, it's better for the league. It reignited a fan base. The scenes looked wild in New York City. I also like that it kind of reminded me a little bit of the 04 Pistons, which we touch on in the interview coming up in just a minute here. But, it's that team that they've got names that but like they don't really have like the super duper stars. I think Jalen Brunson now puts himself into that conversation for sure. But, it wasn't a team. There's no Steph Curry. There's no LeBron James. There's no Tatum. There's no Halliburton. Like they're a unit, right? Jalen Brunson drove the offense for that team, but I do feel like it was a true team effort to get to that point. I like that it puts a little pressure on Wemby, right? I thought Wemby, playing in the finals, it's not storybook. He's not just coming in here and winning it all. They beat the Giant. It was a little bit of a David versus Goliath feel. I thought San Antonio was going to roll the Knicks. I thought the Knicks had a very easy path through the Eastern Conference, and the stars aligned, right? Like they didn't have to play the 1 seed in the Pistons or the 2 seed in the Celtics. They swept a lot of their series. Like they deserve to win this. They took, I mean, every series, like they've had how many losses throughout the whole playoffs? Like 2, 3. I don't remember what the Hawks series was, but here's a team that, put pedal to the metal and drowned out the noise. And no Knicks team has been able to do that in 53 years. So I think it's good for the league. The San Antonio will be back, and I think it's going to bring another edge to Wemby. You got to the top of the mountain, but you couldn't conquer it. And I think we're going to see a very scary Victor Wembanyama coming up here in the coming seasons after this experience. But overall, it was a very entertaining series, and I love that it was San Antonio, which is so funny, the small market team that is the championship pedigree, It was kind of like had a little bit ABA versus NBA feel to it, when you look back at the historical facts of this whole thing. But the Knicks beating San Antonio, that was another thing. They didn't just beat a random team in the West. Like, they beat a team that had championship pedigree, and they really earned it. And it was nice to see them beat a team, whether it was OKC or San Antonio. It was going to be a good series, but the Knicks were up to the task. So I really enjoyed this year's finals.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't have any sympathy for Spurs fans. I mean, first of all, you guys have won the lottery 3 times. You got David Robinson, Tim Duncan, and now Wemby. So, I mean, they already have the world's biggest horseshoe up there. You know what? and with considering just how young Wemby and this core is, I mean, they could be back in the NBA Finals 5 times. It wouldn't be a surprise whatsoever, as long as Wemby can keep those knees healthy, obviously. So they'll be back, whatever. But in a way, it kind of felt like they lost this series. I mean, the Knicks obviously they played great
game
and did what
3
they had to do.
was it, or game 4 where they blew the 29-point lead. Yeah.
But basically every game though that went down to the wire, it kind of felt like the Spurs very well could have won. And obviously the 30-point lead that they had was the most obvious one, but just like De'Aaron Fox, I mean, he is a good player, but my goodness, he had just a horrendous series. And also they have a very young coach as well, and that was kind of showing. Like, you have to think, if this team had a Greg Popovich as head coach, that this would be a much different series. That'd still probably be going on right now. But yeah, I mean, they're green. I mean, I think their NBA Finals was going up against the Thunder. I think them winning that series was basically their championship. And then when they got to the Knicks, they kind of just like ran out of gas. It kind of felt like, where meanwhile, like you said, New York, they kind of just steamrolled the East. The East was wide open this year. The Celtics weren't kind of the same team that they have been before. Indiana wasn't around. I mean, Detroit, they're an up and coming team, but they're not quite ready to take that next step. So it's kind of just like a breeze going through the East. And then they got to the finals and they were, all full of piss and vinegar, and away you have it. So, yeah, I mean, again, I definitely didn't want to see the Knicks win, but I mean, their fan base is as loyal as it comes in sports. And if you look at the New York sports scene, excuse me, I mean, for baseball, they got the Yankees and the Mets, and football, they got the Jets and the Giants, and hockey, they got the Islanders and the Rangers. So for basketball, like the Knicks, like that is New York's team. And yeah, there's Brooklyn, but no one cares about the Brooklyn Nets. They're irrelevant.
Brooklyn.
But like, really, yeah, except for Brooklyn, I guess. But even then, probably not. But like the Knicks are New York's team. So like the whole city, like everyone was just has the Knicks fever. And even when this team has sucked, which has been, again, basically which they have for these past 50 years, there's still a diehard fan base that comes out and whatever. So good for them. But hopefully they're one and done. That's all I got.
I was going to say, I don't know if they have it in them. Like, I don't know if this is like the start of the new Knicks. That's why, like, it kind of reminds me of the Pistons in 04. Like, they were good for a bunch of years. They got that one title, but they never were able to do it again. I don't know if that's the Knicks story or not, but like, there's nothing there. I think it was just the stars aligned. It was a great playoff run. They were a good team, worthy of the championship, but like, I don't think it's all right. Well, let's plan the next 4 parades, right? Like, let's make sure we have these routes blocked for the next 4 years, because they're going to go on a tear. I don't see that happening. And to your point, when it comes to the Spurs and their situation, Mitch Johnson kind of reminds me of Joe Mazzulla a little bit in the way that he was kind of thrust into the position. Young coach, wasn't expected, and it takes a while. Like, they had a lot of success with that team, and I agree with you. I think that OKC series was, the hardest series of the playoffs, and they overcame that, and maybe just didn't have enough left in the tank for the finals. But that's what kind of scares me a little bit for the San Antonio Spurs. They've got the pieces, they've got the experience now, and that's what happened with the Celtics, right? They had to get up to speed with, Mazzulla, who did a great job getting them out of the gate, didn't win the first year. Then he, eventually gets them over the mountaintop and, overachieved this year from the regular season, but underachieved in the playoffs. So I think with Mitch Johnson now, you were coaching under Greg Popovich. Like, you had great tutelage from the top, and you have him nearby. So I don't think he's, too far, but this is a team, under Johnson now with Wemby. This is a new era completely for the San Antonio Spurs, and losing in the finals to a New York Knicks team that was on a legacy run. I don't think I don't think there's much to be disappointed about other than the fact you didn't win, but I think there's a lot to be optimistic about for sure. All right,
So
go
sorry,
ahead.
Joey. I just got one question for you. Then we'll get to Isaiah. Just one question for you first, though. So with Jalen Brunson winning, I mean, leading the New York Knicks to their first NBA title in 5 decades, and being the Finals MVP, and playing as well as he did in that closeout game, where does he rank amongst these point guards I'm about to throw at you?
Okay.
With Steve Nash, Jason Kidd, and Chris Paul, where would Jalen Brunson rank? Was he first? Is he last? Is he in the middle? Where would you put him? Because I think now the conversation is a bit tricky because what Jalen Brunson just accomplished is one of the most impressive things in NBA history.
Okay. You had Nash, Chris Paul. Who was the other one?
And Jason Kidd.
Okay, it's tough because 3 of those 4 careers are over, and I still don't know where Jalen Brunson goes from here. Um, I put him under Nash for sure. I know Nash didn't get the championship, but the 2 MVPs, and there's a little bias because of what he did for basketball in Canada. I might put him ahead of Chris Paul, but see, I can't because like Chris Paul's, like longevity of the record, he's one of the best point guards ever, and a lot of point guards in the league now looked up to him, so it's tough. But I think what he was accomplished. But again, I don't want to put too much on one great year. Like he's been a great player, but like it's too close. Like we're too close in the finals for me to really aggressively say that he's number 2 or he's number 3. But I'd probably put him
It's a
at
hard
3.
one, right? Like
Yeah,
it's a very valid conversation.
I think I would put him at 3. But again, like I grew up in the J Kid era, right? So I don't want to be biased because I watched all those games in my most influential years. But I'd probably put him 3 right now. And that's not a bad thing. It's a very good list to be a part of. But if he does it again, right, or uses that trajectory to continue on, who knows where he ends up? He might be the best point guard of all time in that list. But yeah, it's tough. But I think this is a guy that is fought his way through. Has been sacrificed a lot for this team in terms of money. He's played hard when this team wasn't so good. He's always had everything against him, but I can't say that he's the top just because he won the NBA MVP and an NBA championship. He still has a lot of career to go. But he's definitely put himself in the conversation, and he's definitely earned the respect as one of the greatest stars in the league right now.
Fair enough. Well, I'll just quickly say I'd probably put him number 2 behind Steve Nash. I mean, you can make an argument that J Kidd would still be ahead of him, but I'll go number 2 behind Steve Nash. And sorry, CP3, you're one of the best of all time, but
Well, he doesn't
you
have
always
it,
choked
yeah.
in the playoffs. So
Exactly. The having the championship and the finals MVP is a thing that none of those other guards have, like the MVP aspect of it particularly. That's a tough one, man. Yeah, because it really depends on what you value. If you value championships or MVPs, but I'm going to put him 3. But I want to put him 2. It's the kid, like Kid and him are right there. But yeah, Steve Nash to me, he just revolutionized that position, right? At a time when international players were just coming through, him and like Tony Parker and that, and what he did with the Suns and the Mavs. But yeah, no, I still have Nash number 1. But great NBA Finals, great series or playoff run in general from Jalen Brunson. And I hope that this continues on because he's a fun player to watch and he seems like a good dude too. Speaking of good dudes, our guest, Isiah Osborne, joins us fresh off his back-to-back game winners against Calgary. Came off the bus, put in 30-plus minutes a game in those first 2 games, and cashed in when it counted and made a good first impression. Get to know him a little bit more. Here's our interview with Sea Bears guard Isiah Osborne. Isiah, thank you so much for joining Target Score Winnipeg this week.
Thank you guys for having me.
So first things first, I mean, it's been a bit of a whirlwind for you, I'm sure. I know the intention to sign was announced, months and months ago, but then you get here after your season in Romania and you're kind of thrown right into the fire. How have you settled in? I know on the score sheet you've settled in just fine, but how have you settled in?
Yeah, it's a great city. I mean, games have been fun, great atmosphere so far. When one game at home, so I mean, settling in pretty fine.
Could you ever have imagined your debut going as well as it would have? I mean, obviously you're confident going into every game, but I mean that was quite the debut, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I work hard at what I do, so obviously you hope those things happen. But I mean, I think it was a pretty good start here. So I mean, I'm just happy that it happened the way it did.
How much does your experience in the CEBL help? I mean, you've been playing in this league for a few years now with a few different teams. It's and you and I had talked beforehand, and yes, it's always a challenge when you come in, but when there is some familiarity there, especially from a league standpoint, I think a lot of guys that might come from the US or the G League, having to go through the rule changes, the travel, things like that. Do you feel there's a little bit of an advantage now for you as someone has a lot of experience in this league, that it's one less thing to get used to?
Yeah, I mean, I played in the league obviously a couple of years now, so it's a little easier to get used to some of the rules. Obviously, you kind of every league you go into, you gotta kind of learn how the refs will call certain things, certain ways people will guard you on defense stuff. So, I mean, being here a couple of years now, obviously, it's a bit of help that I kind of can see these things a bit before they happen. I think so. Maybe the ref will let me get away with a little call here. Maybe they won't let me get away with one here. So I think it's a little help there.
So let's jump back a little bit. I mean, why Winnipeg? What enticed you to become a Winnipeg Sea Bear?
Well, I mean, I went to obviously my first year at university. I went to school with Alex, so the assistant coach. So I mean that helps a bit. But obviously, I got in touch with him and coach, and I think we had a good conversation in December, and obviously said a couple of nice things that I was obviously expecting to go through this year. And I mean, just put pen to paper, and it's been working out so far.
One of the things that stuck out to me, when we were talking about Mike Rainbow, or talking to Mike Rainbow about your first game in the post game, one of the things that he said was, you can tell that he's been really well coached, throughout his career and where he went. And I kind of want to go back to that development standpoint, especially growing up in Windsor. You're, for the most part, your career and development was, homegrown in Canada, right? I mean, you were a standout in high school in Windsor. You went to school for a year in Windsor. You were at Carleton along with UTEP as well. But
Yeah.
how much has that, how does that contribute to where you are now? Like, coming up from Windsor, having to go through, you won at every level. I hate to say it, actually. I was doing some research, and you beat my old high school in OFSA, actually. I was going through that, like that. You beat O'Gorman High School, and I was like, okay, so that stings a little bit, but I'll take that. But you've won provincially in OFSA, and for our viewers that are not familiar with Ontario, OFSA is, it's like winning a provincial here. It's a big deal, right? And there's a lot of schools in Ontario. It's not an easy feat to win a provincial championship in Ontario. You win a national championship, and are national U Sports MVP through that your championship run in 2020. I mean, what's allowed you to find the success, locally, or at least maybe not locally, but here in Canada? And how has that helped you kind of develop into the player you are today?
I mean, obviously, yeah, I've had good coaches. My dad coached me since I was young into high school. So I mean, obviously, I feel like he's instilled, like, obviously the right way to play the game, how you should play the game. Always, it's not about like really offense. Offense will come. You gotta put in the work on defense. So, as I've grown up with that, I've taken that to high school, at Carleton, obviously. And I mean, obviously, I've had some good teammates along the way too. Carleton, we probably had 8 of our guys play professional, so that helps a bit. But yeah, I mean, growing up the way I did, learning the game, I think the right way, how it should be played, making the right decision all the time, trying your hardest on defense, just stuff like that helps a lot.
I also just want to point out, you won 66-63 in my high school gym. So,
yeah.
You probably have better memories in that gym than I do. So congratulations on that.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably not saying much, though, Joey.
No, it's really not. It's really not. It's more, you've lived the dream that I never even got close to.
But speaking of those two U Sports national titles, though, Isaiah, I mean, the second one, the one that you won MVP at, I
Mhm.
mean, for those that don't know or don't remember, that was the last uh, basketball championship at the college level in North America played until the pandemic. Obviously,
Yeah,
4 days after you guys won that, March Madness was canceled. They didn't
yeah.
even get to finish their season down south. So what do you remember about that week in your life? Obviously, you win a second national title, you're the MVP, and then 4 days later, or however many days later, I mean, all this kind of craziness is happening. So what just kind of sticks out in your mind from that?
Uh, I mean, it's like we won, we celebrate, and then everyone's like looking forward to, like, are we gonna come back next year, do it again? How's it going? So we're just thinking about that, and then we're going to class, and then I mean, we just get like a call from our I think it was coach or someone, and then it's like, well, everything's canceled. We can't go in the gym no more. I think school's turning to only online, and everyone's just confused, what's going on. But I mean, it was very like confusing time. But I mean, I was just happy that we, like we got to play our game. It sucks that a lot of all these American schools and stuff they didn't get the chance to, but I'm just happy that we got to play ours.
Yeah, no kidding. What is it, about Carleton? Actually, before we get to that, what was your recruitment like coming out of high school? You're from Windsor, you get recruited by the local university and you start your career there, but then there's the transferring starts, you find yourself at Carleton. And I mean, I don't think we need to educate anybody on Carleton, the most dominant men's program in our country's history. What was it like coming out of high school? Did you have a lot of offers? Did you really have to fight your way up and use that first year at Windsor to kind of prove yourself?
uh, I mean, I think like teams like I think York was looking at me, like stuff like that. I mean, I wasn't really like it's pretty hard getting recruited out of Canada. Obviously, if you're not in the Toronto area, you're not playing in those games where coaches are looking at. So, I was just saying, I'm going to play at Windsor. I'll finish school, and whatever happens, happens. And obviously, that summer happened, and we played a D1 team in. I can't remember. I can't remember what team, but obviously, there's a guy, Matt Wilms. He's from Leamington. He was at UTEP, so he was just down, watching a random game, and I think I had like 35 or something. And then literally, I talked to him after the game. He's like, "How do you feel about playing Division One?" I was like, "You know what? It was always a dream, but some things don't work out. You don't get recruited. So I was just focused on school and basketball a little bit at the time. And next thing you know, that night I'm getting a call from the coach, talking to him, and then the next day we're figuring out a way to get me to fly down there like the next week. So I mean, it happened quickly, but I mean, it was just right place, right time, right there.
I mean, obviously, if Carlton, is calling, you better pick up the phone. Obviously, especially if you like to win. So,
Yeah.
just what's the story of you, leaving UTEP and going to Carlton?
So the coach that recruited me to UTEP, he was he stepped down the year I played. So a new coach comes in, and whenever a new coach comes in, it's always tough. Especially in the States, they're recruiting their guys. So I didn't feel it was the right fit for me. And Munis, one of my good friends from childhood, obviously I played with him all the way up till we were in high school. He transferred to Carleton, so he was wondering what I was doing, and then I told him I was probably coming back home. I didn't know where I was gonna go, and he got me in touch with Dave, and then yeah, I mean the rest is history. There, I had a couple good conversations with him, and then I showed up in the summer, and then I was at Carleton.
And when you say Dave, you're referring to Dave Smart, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, what is that, that part of your journey? How does that help shape where you are? Like, what was it like playing for Dave Smart, and how did the Carleton experience kind of elevate your game?
I mean,
Like, what makes it what it
yeah.
is, I guess, would be the best question to ask. I mean, it's been a powerful program. You've been inside it. What allows Carleton to have the success they've had?
It's really just it just shows how much work you put in. I mean, we're there in summers getting shots up like 7 a.m., working a full camp all day, and then after camp, during camp, obviously we get like an hour lift in. Then after camp, we have about probably an hour of skills with everybody, and then we play for 2 hours. And that was all summer. So we have that, and then during the year it's just, every day everyone's competing, everyone wants to be the best, and everyone's actually taking it like it's a professional job already. Anyone can take anyone's spot, no one's giving anything up for free, and it's the amount of effort and how hard everyone played and practiced every day. Like, I think our practices were tougher than games because everyone was so locked into practice and everyone wanted to win so badly.
So your Isaiah, your college career, Windsor, UTEP, Carleton, CBL career, Edmonton, Montreal, Ottawa, and then playing overseas, Poland, Finland, Greece, Latvia, Lithuania, Romania. Hopefully I'm not missing any stops along the way there, but what's this been like for you, man? It feels like, you've been bouncing around, seeing the world. It must be pretty awesome. But I mean, at the same time, it must be kind of hard though, the fact that you've had to bounce around so much.
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten kind of used to it, but I mean, yeah, it's great. I mean, I'm trying to obviously play basketball as long as I can, but obviously with playing basketball, you get to do cool things like see the world. So, I mean, yeah, sometimes it's nice staying in one place, but obviously I do want to experience, different countries, different teams, different cultures and stuff like that. So, it's just amazing that I really get to do that.
Now, circling back to where we were about, the championship and the winning culture that you experienced, through your high school and collegiate career, what would it mean for you to get a championship in the CEBL? And why do you think Winnipeg was your best fit to do that this year?
I mean, it would mean a lot, obviously, but I think we have a good team. I mean, obviously, we have one more guy who's going to show up too, which will be important for us. But I mean, I think we got a great group of guys, a great diversity of, the way people do certain things. I think everyone can do everything pretty well, and some people excel at different things more. So obviously that helps us a bit. But I mean, yeah, winning one in Canada would obviously mean a lot.
Isaiah, thanks so much for making the time. I know it's always busy, and you just got off the road from Calgary. Congrats on your first 2 games and getting those first 2 game winners, and best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
That was Isiah Osborne, the hero for the Sea Bears in those back-to-back games against Calgary, making a huge first impression. The Windsor, Ontario product, born, bred, developed in Canada. 1 year with UTEP, came back, won some national championships with Carleton, and hoping that championship pedigree, that's what he said. He hasn't won in the CBL yet, wants to get that professional title under his belt, and I know fans are hoping that championship pedigree seeps into the Winnipeg Sea Bears this year.
Can I start doing this show the way that Isaiah did? I mean, he was in his pajamas and in bed. He looked very comfortable. Like, Joey, I think next week I might try that out.
That's all we do.
Pretty ideal, if you ask me.
We lounge here at Target Score, just a casual conversation, feeling comfortable. I loved it. You know what? He's in his element. He's in his zone. Gave us some great answers. That's all we could ask for, man. So maybe we do make that. Maybe we have a more laid back studio setup, Tay. Maybe that's what we have to do. Bring our best game out.
There we go. I'm down. Any excuse to still wear my PJs and just chill? Yeah, let's fine by me, man.
Sounds as everybody knows, everybody in TV wears shorts under the desk, right? So it's part of business on top, party on the bottom.
So there you go.
All right, that concludes our show. Just a reminder: Sea Bears play 2 times this week. They play Thursday at 7:00 against Vancouver at Canada Life Center. And then they host the Edmonton Stingers on Saturday, a matinee 3:00 start. Should be a fun one, a good test here for the Sea Bears. And of course, we will revisit it, break it all down next week on Target Score Winnipeg. Taylor, thanks as always, buddy. Enjoy the games this week, and we'll see you next week.
See you guys.